Hey everyone, I am back checking in and giving some updates on addiction and life in general. Thought I would talk today about something that is pretty internal, meaning I haven't really shared this with anybody, and so I just thought I would share it just go ahead and share it. That's what this channel is for. So just understand the rawness. And so this is the rawness that's happening in the family right now. And it is with regards to Nate's addiction, even though Nate is not around. Stay tuned at the very end of this video. I will have a link to another video of so this incident is linked to multiple other incidences together. I'll link up to this one thing. And stay tuned till the end, because I did record myself when it happened initially at one of the times in 2023. I recorded how I was afterwards. I had a complete panic attack. I'm not really making sense. I'm a very hot mess, not a little hot mess. I am a complete hot mess in the video. This is with regards to the children's grandparents, meaning Nate's grandparent, Nate's dad. His dad is verbally abusive and has verbally abused me multiple times. He is a very nice man. He is a follower of Christ, as far as I know. He is tender. He is kind. He loves his grandchildren when there are not any issues with Nate. As soon as Nate relapses, he will be in our lives briefly. I will ask for help, and I rarely get the help. So I asked him during the first relapse to help me with the children, and he came over. He had been in town, and he had stayed with Nate for 3 days until he found Nate had relapsed, and he decided it was time to leave. So then he came and saw the children for a couple hours and then left. And I don't know what he was doing. He saw Nate in the state he was in. And then during that day, I don't know what he was doing. But I asked him to come and help with the kids. He decided not to. And then came that evening, spent 3 hours with them, and then left. Every time Nate has relapsed, my mom and sister and my dad have been heavily involved, and there are some other people in my dad's life, Cheryl, that have been heavily involved in helping the children and I. And they are my family, but these children are also the Weaver's grandchildren. His dad, Daniel Weaver, it's your grandchildren. Both of them are your grandchildren. And I will say, so Nate does have a stepdad, and his stepdad has to take care of his mom, Nate's mom, because she is in a facility. So he has been extremely supportive, listening ear. He can't support as in come and help with the children because he's taking care of Nate's mom. But he has known the ins and outs of everything going on. He has always known where we live, always. Like, my family knew, he knew, and my work knew. Other than that, nobody else knew. So that tells you that in depth. And he's Nate's stepdad, and he treats these grandchildren like they are his own. We're actually going to go, side note, we're going to do a trip back to Iowa. And yes, my dad is there and Cheryl is there, and our church family, but a big part of it is because Nate's stepdad cannot travel to see us because of his mom. Anyway, but again, his dad, Nate's dad, is verbally abusive. And after he verbally abused me, again, stay tuned till the end. There will be a link for a video that shows you how I was just a hot mess afterwards. But during this last relapse that Nate had, and mind you, throughout all of these relapses, I've asked for help with, first and foremost, during all of the relapses, I've mentioned Nate is still drinking, Nate is still drinking, Nate is still drinking, and nobody believes me. Nobody believes me, ever, at all, period. My family does. But meaning, people that celebrate recovery don't believe me. Some, very few do, but some do because they can smell it on him, but others do not. One person he was living with, pardon me, Nate was living with him. And I told him, Nate's drinking. No, he's not drinking. He drives to get me breakfast in the morning. I said, he drives from Illinois to Iowa to get you breakfast in the morning? Yeah, because I like breakfast. And I said, do you know why he drives from Illinois to Iowa? He said, no. And I said, because he can buy alcohol sooner in Iowa in the morning than he can in Illinois. Anyway, that's another side note. But prime example, people believed that he wasn't drinking, and he really was. His dad believed he wasn't drinking. His dad believed what Nate said. When Nate told his dad I was living with a sex offender, he believed him. When Nate's dad told him that he didn't commit domestic abuse, even though he was found guilty of domestic abuse, Nate's dad believed him. Video evidence and a judge. We went to court and a judge found him guilty of domestic abuse. He spent 30 days in jail. He was on probation because of the domestic abuse. And still, his dad did not believe that he did anything wrong, that he did not commit domestic abuse. That being said, I also have mentioned him numerous times. His entire family, now Paul did believe me, but his brother and his dad did not. He is still drinking. I'm concerned he's still drinking. Do you want to get a power of attorney and try to get him into a treatment center? I cannot do it because I have an order of protection, but if you want to save his life, you can do what his mom did and get power of attorney and get him into a long-term treatment facility. And I explained to them, I said, I have an interventionist that is willing to do this for free. I have a facility that you can go to, long-term treatment center, that we can send him to, not in Iowa, not in Illinois, send him away that he can go to, and the cost was covered. And they didn't respond to me. And that was 3 weeks before before Nate passed away. 3 weeks before he passed away, my text was, do you want to save Nate's life? If you do, this is what I have available. I've had this gift. Somebody offered it to me a while ago. I have not said anything, but I feel it's weighing on my heart that I need to share this gift. If you want to save Nate's life, I can give you information. I can give you the person to contact, and they will schedule an intervention and get you scheduled with a treatment center free of cost. What's there to lose, right? His family never responded. The church family did. The church family was all in. Nate's family never responded. And then his body was found. And now, this is the current situation. Now we're leading up to the current situation. And I will say, before I get into that, one more little bit of a side note that I missed on this on this context. When the kids and I moved to Tennessee, we did not tell anyone. We told very few people. His stepdad did know, but his dad did not know on purpose. It was advice from my attorney, so I did not tell his dad. Then, while we were there, through school, we can send like grandparent updates and things like that. I did allow the school to send grandparent updates. And at that point, people had known that we had moved to Tennessee. So bottom line, my attorney said, don't let people know that you're trying to move to Tennessee. Get to Tennessee first. That was the message. So after that, I didn't really go and shout it out that we were in Tennessee, but I didn't really keep it from anybody. Like Arizona, I definitely kept that from everybody, and I did not talk to people about it. So anyway, his dad sent me a message, or I got a package on my front porch when we were in Tennessee, the kids and I, and it's from his dad. And I open it up, and it's books. And there's a letter in there that Merry Christmas, etc., etc. And I started shaking. And everybody's probably thinking, what is she talking about? Nobody knew my address in Tennessee. Nobody. My work did, and my family did, and Nate's stepdad did. That is it. Nobody else knew my address. How did his dad get my address? And it was not he does not talk to Nate's stepdad at all, period. And his stepdad would never do that to us. So anyway, I tried to contact Dan multiple times. No response. Asking, I wanted to know. So my fear was that he got the address from Nate. And then Nate, because Nate knew my address, I needed to go in hiding. I needed to get away quickly because who knows? He hit me with a car. So if he knows where I live, how do I know he's not going to come and try to break in? He already broke into our house during his second relapse. He broke into the house and changed the locks. He already threatened me. I have already had 2 orders of protection against him. He already tried to take my clothes off when I said no 5 times. Why would I not be terrified if that man had my address? So I asked Dan, where did you get it? No response. I kept asking him. I said, it's really important that I know. No response. So I called him. Actually, he didn't answer. I called his wife. She answered. And I said, can you please tell me where he got the address? And she said, from Nate. And I said, how does Nate have my address? And she goes, let me just have Dan talk to you. So she was in the car with Dan. I had no idea. So Dan gets on the phone. Or no, he didn't even get on the phone. He goes, no, I'm not. And I could hear him in the background. No, I'm not going to talk to her. I don't want to talk. No, I'm not going to do that. They were arguing. And then the phone hung up. I started crying. Then he gets on the phone. Then they, I think, called back. Either I called them back or they called me back. And he gets it back on and he said, we're driving, and he said, I just don't want to talk about it. Something along those lines. And I said, Dan, I've sent you messages. If you would respond to me, I wouldn't have to call you. But I need to know, how do you know where we live? And he goes, I'm not going to answer that question. You know how I know. I said, no, I don't. That's why I'm asking you. Why would I ask him a question if I know the answer? Hello? Sorry. I'm going over lots of bumps. Anyway. And then he said, and you could hear his wife talking in the background too. And I said, this is the situation. I said, you can't sit here and have my address and not tell me how you received it. This doesn't make sense. Anyway, I'm pulling into my parking structure right now, so I'm trying to be a little bit mindful of my driving here. As the yellow light happens. Red. Okay. Oof. Boo, 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 boo. Okay. Anyway. Oh, man. Well, that's where there's more parking. Got it. Okay. Interesting. Oh, man. There is so much construction going on down here. This is a little bit ridiculous. Public parking next. Okay, anyway. I was telling him, Dan, you can't, he can't have my address. And he said, and then I asked him, I said, why did you send those books? Did Nate tell you to do it? He said, why does that matter? I don't understand. Why does that mean? He gets really defensive and he's yelling at me on the phone. And I said, and you could hear Cecilia, or his wife, in the background asking him questions as well. That's why I was asking those questions to you. And I said, you've never sent them any gift ever, period. Never, ever sent them a gift, ever. Now, all of a sudden, when Nate relapses and Nate has my address, you decide to send them a gift? Put 2 and 2 together. So he said it's just from a grandpa to his grandchildren. Okay, I'll take that. I didn't believe it, but I'll take that. And he said, Nate helped me pick out the things. And I'm thinking in my head, your son is in active addiction and you're talking to him about picking out gifts for his children that he has an order of protection against, that he's not supposed to have any contact with. And by the way, you cannot, and this is where his wife was saying, it's against the order of protection if you're doing things to get to the children. If there's somebody that you're using as a proxy to get to the children, you cannot do that. So every relapse, if it's during Daniel's birthdays, which most of them, Nate's only been to 2 of Daniel's birthdays. Anyway, anytime those relapses have happened, Nate has gotten somebody to get a gift to Daniel, but he's always known where we lived. And that is 100% in violation of the order of protections. And so those he did get in trouble for and actually spent time in jail. But this time, Dan said, his dad said, no, it's just a gift. Nate was just helping me pick them out. His dad's a little smarter than the other people that actually were handing the gifts to me, in the sense that he covers for his son big time. Strictly enforced. Okay, I'm going to park here. Okay, I'm gonna have to do a part 2 of this